Jai Gurudev, today we have gathered a group of experts from the Art of Living, Vedic Dhamma Sansthan, Upnayanam teachers, Ayurveda doctors, and food experts to explore the meaning and practice of a powerful words from the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4, verse 24. Brahmarpanam Brahma Haviram, Brahmagano Brahmana Hutam, Brahmaiva, Tena Gantavyam, Brahma Karma Samadhina. This verse tells us that everything, whether the offering, the fire, the oblation, or the one making the offering, is Brahman, the supreme reality. By performing any action with this understanding, one attains Brahman. We will break down this verse with the help of our experts and understand its connection to everyday life, especially around food, rituals, and mindful actions. To start, could you help us understand the essence of this verse from the Bhagavad Gita? And what does it convey about the nature of offerings and the role of Brahman? This verse beautifully encapsulates the idea that all of existence is Brahman, the offering, or Brahmarpanam, the oblation, or Brahma Haviha, the fire, Brahmagno, in which it is offered, and even the one performing the ritual, Brahmana, are all manifestations of Brahman. The verse teaches that when one performs any action, be it an offering, a ritual, or any duty, with the realization that everything is Brahman, that person becomes absorbed in the divine. Such a person experiences a deeper connection to the universe and ultimately attains Brahman. It conveys that all actions are sacred when performed with the right intention and awareness. There is no separation between the sacred and the worldly. Everything is an expression of the divine. Now, how does this teaching specifically relate to food, and why is it important to offer food before eating? Food is an essential part of life, and in our spiritual tradition, it holds a sacred place. The practice of offering food to the divine before eating is a way to acknowledge that all sustenance comes from the divine. This is particularly important because food impacts not only our body but also our mind and spirit. When we offer food with the chant of the prayer or the verse from the Bhagavad Gita, we are essentially acknowledging that the food we eat is not separate from the Brahman. The food becomes an offering itself, a way to connect with the divine. By performing this simple act, we remind ourselves that everything we consume is part of the divine energy, and it transforms the mundane act of eating into a sacred ritual. That's a very insightful. Could you elaborate on the three impurities mentioned in the food offering tradition and how offering food helps in purifying it? In Ayurveda, food is not just physical nourishment, it also nourishes the mind and soul. But food can carry three potential impurities which affect its purity and the impact it has on our well being. The cleanliness of the vessel, the container in which food is prepared or served, may have been handled improperly or may have absorbed negative energy. We cannot always ensure the ethical sourcing of ingredients, and sometimes food is produced with harmful practices or intentions. The emotions and thoughts of the person preparing the food can influence its energy. If they are stressed, angry, or distracted, the food might carry that negative energy. Offering food to the divine before eating helps cleanse these three impurities through the prayer or chant. We consecrate the food, transforming it into prasad, which is purified and imbued with positive energy. This act also purifies our mind and brings a sense of gratitude and mindfulness to the eating process. So, by offering food to the divine, we purify the food and also elevate our own mental and spiritual state. How can this practice be adapted to modern life, especially in a busy schedules or with processed foods? In today's fast paced world, the practice of offering food can seem difficult, especially with processed or ready made meals. However, the principle of offering is not bound by the type of food or time constraints. Even before eating a quick meal, we can take a moment to reflect and offer gratitude. This moment of mindfulness, even if brief, can change our entire approach to food. It's about connecting with the food, understanding its source, and offering gratitude for it, whether it's a home cooked meal or a meal from a restaurant. Offering it to the divine can imbue it with sanctity and create a more meaningful eating experience. The key is intention. Whether you are eating alone or in a busy setting, a prayerful attitude elevates the experience. This brings us to the idea of sattvic food, which is considered pure and conducive to spiritual growth. Can you explain how sattvic food and the practice of offering food align with this verse? Yes, sattvic food is food that is pure, wholesome, and nourishing for both the body and mind. It is prepared with love, care, and positive intentions. The act of offering sattvic food to the divine is a way to purify not just the food, but also the mind of the one offering and consuming it. The words from the Gita emphasizes that all actions performed with devotion and the right understanding are a way of reaching Brahman. Offering sattvic food aligns perfectly with this principle. By preparing and offering food with a pure heart, we ensure that the food nourishes not just our body but also our mind and spirit, helping us grow spiritually. This is why food prepared with love, kindness, and purity is considered sacred, as it reflects the intention behind it. In closing, how can we integrate the understanding of Brahman into our everyday life, especially through simple actions like eating? The key is awareness. By bringing the understanding that everything, including food and the act of eating, is a part of the divine. We can transform ordinary actions into sacred practices. This does not require complex rituals, rather, it's about bringing mindfulness and reverence into every action, no matter how small, whether it's offering food before eating, chanting a prayer, or simply taking a moment to appreciate the nourishment. These acts help us connect with Brahman. It's about seeing the divine in all aspects of life because ultimately everything is Brahman. Thank you all for your deep insights. It's clear that the verse from the Bhagavad Gita, though simple, holds profound wisdom. By offering food and performing everyday actions with awareness, we can bring the sacred into our lives and connect with the divine in everything we do. Thank you and Jai Gurudev. Jai Gurudev, and welcome, and thank you for joining us today to discuss a profound verse from the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4, verse 24, which speaks to the sacredness of offerings, rituals, and the process of eating. The verse says, Brahmarpanam Brahma Havira, Brahmagano Brahmana Hutam, Brahma Evatena Gantavyam, Brahma Karma Samadhinam. This verse suggests that everything, whether the offering, the oblation, the fire, or the one making the offering, is Brahman, and by performing such actions with this awareness, one attains Brahman. Our discussion today will bring together experts from the art of living, Vedic Dharma Sansthan, Upanayana teachers, Ayurveda doctors, and food experts to explore the deeper understanding of this verse and how it connects to our daily lives, particularly around food and rituals. To begin, could you give us an explanation of this verse and its broader meaning in terms of offerings and the sacredness of actions? This verse from the Bhagavad Gita highlights the fundamental truth of the unity of the individual and the divine. It tells us that all aspects of a ritual or offering, whether the offering itself or Brahmarpanam, the fire in which it is offered, Brahmagno, and the oblation or Brahmahaviha, or even the person performing the ritual, Brahmana, are all a manifestation of Brahman. Brahman is the supreme reality, and when we act with the awareness that all these elements are Brahman, we align ourselves with the divine. The verse also points out that performing any action with this understanding, whether it's offering food, performing a ritual, or engaging in a work, is an act of worship. It teaches us that everything we do can be seen as an offering to the divine, elevating our daily actions to a higher spiritual level. By such actions, we come closer to realizing Brahman. In light of this, how does this concept apply to food offerings, and why is it significant to offer food before partaking it? The act of offering food to the divine before eating is an ancient practice rooted in the understanding that everything in the universe is interconnected and all nourishment comes from a higher source. The verse tells us that the offering itself is Brahman, so when we offer food to the divine, we are acknowledging that it is ultimately a divine gift, and by doing so, we purify it. This is not only about physical sustenance, but also about mental and spiritual nourishment. Food that is offered with gratitude and reverence becomes prasad, a consecrated offering that carries the divine energy. It is no longer just food for the body, but sustenance for the mind and spirit as well. By offering food, we establish a connection to the divine source, purify our intentions, and transform the act of eating into a sacred ritual. There is a concept of food being impure due to three impurities: the cleanliness of the vessel, the ingredients, and the cook's mental state. Can you expand on these and how the offering helps purify food? In Ayurveda, food plays a crucial role in maintaining both physical and mental health. The three impurities you mentioned, the cleanliness of the vessel, the purity of ingredients, and the mental state of the cook, are factors that influence the quality of the food. The vessel used to cook, to serve, or serve the food may carry negative energy if it is not kept or if it has absorbed harmful influences. We can never fully guarantee the ethical sourcing or quality of the ingredients. They may come from sources that were not handled with the care or impurity. The emotional and mental state of the person preparing the food can affect the food's energy. If the cook is stressed, angry, or distracted, the food might carry those negative vibrations. By offering food to the divine, we acknowledge and purify these potential impurities. The prayer or chant transforms the food into prasad, eliminating these negative influences. It's like sanctifying the food and ensuring that it nourishes not just the body but also the mind and spirit. How can this practice be applied in modern life, especially in a busy world where processed foods and fast paced meals are common. In today's fast paced world, the act of offering food may seem difficult, especially with the ready made or processed meals. However, the core principle behind the offering, mindfulness and gratitude, can still be practiced. Even if we are eating something simple or quick, we can take a moment to pause, reflect, and offer gratitude for the food we have. It's not about the type of food, but the intention behind the action. Whether you are eating a simple meal or a more elaborate one, taking a moment to offer it to the divine transforms the experience. This small act of mindfulness, no matter how brief, can elevate the food, making it sacred. It's about creating a sacred space in the midst of our daily routines. Let's talk about sattvic food, which is considered pure and conducive to spiritual growth. How does sattvic food tie into the concept of Brahman and food offering? Sattvic food is food that is pure, light, and nourishing. It promotes harmony and mental clarity. It's typically vegetarian, freshly prepared, and made with love and care. According to the teachings of the Bhagavad Gita, sattvic food helps in cultivating a serene and focused mind, which is essential for a spiritual growth. When we offer sattvic food to the divine, we are aligning ourselves with the energy of Brahman. The food itself, when prepared with pure intentions, becomes a vehicle for spiritual elevation. It supports both physical well being and mental clarity, which are essential for meditation, contemplation, and self realization. This is why offering sattvic food in prayer becomes a powerful way to nourish the mind, body, and soul while deepening our connection to the divine. As we conclude, could you summarize how the understanding of Brahman in this verse can transform our daily actions, particularly those related to food? The key takeaway from this verse is that every action can be an offering to Brahman. It teaches us that everything in life, from our work to our rituals to even eating food, can be elevated to a sacred act when we perform it with awareness that everything is divine. By offering food, we recognize that it is not separate from Brahman, and this transforms our entire relationship with food and sustenance. It's about awareness and gratitude. By recognizing the divine in all aspects of life, we can experience a deeper connection to the universe and to ourselves. This understanding transforms not just our rituals, but our entire approach to life. Every act, no matter how simple, can become an offering to the divine. Thank you all for your profound insights today. It's clear that by integrating this understanding of Brahman into our daily lives, we can elevate even the simplest acts into sacred offerings, creating a deeper connection with the divine in all that we do. Thank you and Jai Gurudev. Jai Gurudev, we are honored today to have with us a panel of experts from different fields to share their insights on a profound verse from the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4, verse 24, Brahmarpanam Brahmahaviha, Brahmagano Brahmanahutam Brahmaeva Tena Gantavyam, Brahmakarma Samadhinam. This verse essentially reflects that any offering, the oblation, the fire in which it is offered, and the one making the offering are all Brahman. The person who remains absorbed in Brahman attains Brahman. To explore this concept, we have with us a senior faculty member from the Art of Living specializing in the connection between spirituality and lifestyle, an expert from Vedic Dharma Sansthan focusing on the rituals and their deeper meanings, a renowned Ayurveda scholar who emphasizes the purity of food and its impact on the mind, a revered teacher of Upanayana and Vedic studies, and a food expert advocating for sattvic and holistic food practices. To start, can you briefly explain the verse, particularly the idea that Brahman is in everything? Could you share your thoughts? Yes, this verse conveys a deep spiritual truth. It suggests that everything, whether it's the act of offering the oblation, the fire, or the person performing the act, are all manifestations of Brahman. This perspective shifts our understanding of reality, where the material world and the spiritual world are not separate. In this context, when we see everything as Brahman, we transcend the duality of the mundane and the divine. It's a constant reminder that the divine is present in every action, every offering, every object. It's not just a ritual, it's a realization that all actions, when performed with devotion, are acts of worship. That's a powerful perspective. Can you explain how this verse ties into the Vedic rituals and why it's so important to view all actions as divine offerings? Yes, this verse is a perfect example of the holistic view in Vedic rituals. In traditional Vedic practices, every act, whether it's cooking, offering a prayer, or any mundane task, is seen as an offering to the divine. When one engages in these tasks with the intention of devotion and awareness of Brahman, it elevates into the act or to the level of spiritual practice. The verse underscores that the true essence of ritual is not just the physical offering, but the consciousness behind it. For instance, in homas or fire rituals, the offerings made into the fire are considered to be imbued with the energy of Brahman. The fire itself is seen as the cosmic force, and so the ritual becomes a transformative act for the individual's spiritual growth. That's enlightening. Moving from the spiritual to the practical, could you discuss the concept of purity in food, especially how it relates to the Gita words, and how does the food we eat influence our mind and spirit? In Ayurveda, food is considered not just as fuel for the body, but as vital source for the mind and soul. This verse from the Gita suggests that the offering is Brahman, which is a reminder that our food too should be viewed as an offering. Before eating, we offer food to the divine, which purifies it, ensuring it is free from negative energies. When food is prepared with pure intentions and devotion, it naturally becomes sattvic, nourishing not only the body but also calming the mind. Impure food laden with negative energies or toxins can create disturbances in our thoughts and emotions. By praying and offering our food to divine, we purify it and ourselves. This concept is integral in Ayurvedic practices where food is always prepared with positive energy and awareness. That's a beautiful connection in the context of Upanayana, which marks the beginning of a spiritual journey of young students. How does the idea of Brahman in everyday and everything play a role in the initiation process? In Upanayana, the sacred thread is not just a physical symbol, it represents the initiation of a young person into the knowledge of Brahman, the supreme consciousness. The ceremony is designed to shift the students' awareness from a materialistic view of the world to the one that is centered around Brahman. The sacred thread itself, the mantras chanted during the ceremony, the fire used in the ritual, everything is seen as part of Brahman. Just as the verse from the Bhagavad Gita suggests, when one performs an action with the understanding that it is an offering to Brahman, it transforms the person. The student is taught to see everything they do as an offering, whether it's studying, working, or simply living. This consciousness leads to spiritual growth and liberation. That brings us to a practical aspect, food and its relation to the mind. Could you shed some light on how the concept of sattvic food, as mentioned in the Gita, can be incorporated into our everyday lives? Absolutely, sattvic food is food that is pure, light, and conducive to peace. It aligns with the understanding that food can influence the mental and spiritual state. Sattvic food, such as fresh fruits, vegetables, whole grains, nuts, and seeds, are prepared with love and mindfulness. When we cook with positive thoughts, the energy of the food is transformed, as the Gita verse suggests. The act of offering food to Brahman purifies it, and the food becomes a sacred offering. In modern life, it's about consciously choosing foods that are fresh, organic, and cooked with the right intentions. When we eat with awareness and gratitude, we invite purity and balance into our bodies and minds. It's a practice of mindfulness that connects us to the divine in everything, even in the simplest acts of eating. Thank you. This interview has been an enlightening journey through the layers of this profound verse. It's clear that when we view our actions, food, and every aspect of our life as offerings to Brahman, we elevate ourselves spiritually. Thank you, everyone, for your wisdom and insights today, Jagadev.